Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's Michael J. Next here, and today we're going to be exposing how the FBI destroyed Billie Holiday. Now, if you don't know who she is, Billie Holiday was a renowned black singer and songwriter from the 1930s, 40s, 50s. She had substance abuse issues, but she was very vocal about calling out black oppression, and that led to a target on her back from the government. Without further ado, let's start with the video. Billie Holiday was born Eleanor Fagan on April 7, 1915, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to teenage parents Clarence Holiday and Sarah Fagan. Now, her dad left the family when Billie was really little to start his army music career. She was mostly raised by her mom, Sarah, known as Sadie, and they soon moved to Baltimore, where Sadie had to provide for them. Little Eleanor grew up in Baltimore. When she was 9 years old, she started going to St. Francis Academy, where she skipped a lot of classes. And even by the time she was 9 years old, she was in juvenile court for truancy. Soon she had to go stay at the House of the Good Shepherd, which is a Catholic reform school for girls, where these batshit crazy nuns would lock her in a room with a dead girl as punishment. I know, motherfucker. Only 100 years ago would this shit happen. I'm telling you, the way these schools get shut down like that these days. And by the time she left, she dropped out of school. And let's focus on how she got famous. So, in her teenage years, she started performing at nightclubs in Harlem, and she got the pseudonym Billie Holiday from the actress Billie Dove and her dad's last name. That's when she started performing under, and that's where she found her first success. And she would outperform other singers there. So good for you, Billie. In 1935, she started collaborating with the artist Teddy Wilson, and they made songs like What a Little Moonlight Can Do and Miss Brown to You. A couple years later, she started working with Count Basie and Artie Shaw, and their hits included I Can't Get Started and Summertime, and then later, They Can't Take That Away From Me. But her biggest competition at the time was with the legendary singer Ella Fitzgerald. Now, we can't do a Billie Holiday video without talking about the song that jump-started, but also destroyed her career, and that song being Strange Fruit. In 1939, with Commodore Records, she recorded the song Strange Fruit, which talks about southern lynchings and violence against black people. And I wanted to read the lyrics from the song. Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scenes of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth. Scent of magnolia sweet and fresh, then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here's a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop. Here is a bitter and strange crop. Yeah, strange fruit. It talks about hanging bodies. We're not talking about fruit. We're talking about bodies hanging off the trees as if they were fruit because black people were getting hung. But I'm sure y'all understood that. Now, this song would repeatedly get banned from radio because of how true and how woke it is. Because remember, it's 1939. The civil rights movement hasn't been a thing yet. Racism is at an all-time high, and lynchings were at an all-time high. And no white radio station wanted black people to be vocal about the true experiences of them in the South. Even her father, Clarence Holiday, would pass away from getting denied medical treatment over the song. So this song would haunt Billie for the rest of her life.
Do you know that Billie Holiday died handcuffed to her hospital bed while federal agents watched her suffer? In 1959, one of America's greatest singers, was arrested on her deathbed for drug possession. But this wasn't just about drugs. The FBI had been hunting Holiday for 20 years because of one song, Strange Fruit. This powerful anti-lynching song was considered so dangerous that the government labeled it a threat to national security. For 2 decades, federal agents destroyed her life piece by piece. They planted drugs in her dressing rooms, pressured venues to cancel her shows, and arrested her repeatedly to ruin her career. When Holiday lay dying from liver disease and heart failure, agents stood guard outside her room, denying her visitors and pain medication as punishment. She spent her final weeks begging nurses for relief while handcuffed to her bed. The woman who gave the world incredible music died alone, tortured by her own government. Her death wasn't from illness, it was essentially a government execution disguised as medical neglect, all because she dared to sing about racial injustice.
Now, Billie struggled with drug addiction. Dang, I cannot talk. In the 1940s and 50s, she would be repeatedly arrested for narcotic possessions. And by the late 1940s, 1947, she was sentenced to Alderson prison camp in West Virginia. She was released early in March 1948 for good behavior, but it would be a long road from here on out. And now here's the reason I decided to make this video. By 1959, Billie's health was declining because of drug addiction. And by July 59, she was handcuffed to her hospital bed over the drug charges. So even when she was literally dying, the police was still on her ass. At this point, it wasn't even just her. They were setting her up. And on July 17th, 1959, Billie Holiday passed away at New York City Hospital at the young age of 44 years old. Billie had only 70 cents to her name when she died, and her funeral was paid by songwriter-producer Michael P. Grace II. Her funeral was held on July 21st at the Church of St. Paul the Apostle in Manhattan, and she's buried at St. Remy Cemetery in the Bronx. If you didn't know, that's where Frank Lyman's buried. If you want me to do a video about Frank Lyman in the future, let me know. I probably will, because that's a story that should be covered too. But the video that I just included was the main reason I wanted to talk about this video, because it exposed how dirty the FBI really is and how they tried to destroy Billie's life up until the day she died. Well, I always knew Billie had issues with addiction. I had no idea that the FBI was deliberately doing it on purpose, which doesn't surprise me because it's the FBI against black people in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, so they would often set black people up and get them killed. So this is something that I'm finding out more in detail. Like, I knew the basis behind it, but now I'm getting all the details. That's really why I wanted to do this video, to spread the awareness. Now, in popular culture, I wanted to bring this up. So, in 1956, Billie wrote her memoir, Lazy the Blues, and in 1972, that would be adapted into a movie starring the legendary Diana Ross as Billie Holiday, also starring Billy Dee Williams and Richard Pryor. And just a few years ago, I think it was 2021, they made the movie The United States vs. Billie Holiday, in which Andra Day played her. These are good terms because Diana Ross and Andra Day are two really talented singers, so it was nice to see them play this iconic legend. Well, that was the video. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. It's a free way to help me out, put my channel out there. And hit the bell so you can know if I post a new video. See you in the next video. Deuces.